Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the program agenda, and thank you for being subscribers and viewers of Cignal TV and watching us via One News PH channels 8 and 250. I'm your host, Cito Beltran, welcoming you on this Thursday morning, November 18, 2021. Medyo bumibilis na ang linggo, isang tulog na lang, weekend na naman. But whether it's the start of the week or the end of the week, we all have to work, we all have to rise and shine and do our part to make life better, not just for ourselves, but for everyone. So today we're going to have a very special guest, and he is a very low-key individual. He is a performance player. He is a very experienced executive, pero pag nadinig niyo po yung kanyang resume, baka mabulaga kayo, baka matulala kayo kasi when I went through his resume, I never connected the person with the background because the person is so low-key, and yet right now he is probably the most successful government official in the Duterte administration. We will get to him, but first let's go to our daily starter to begin our program. Our daily starter, and I will read it for you. Your anger. It's telling you where you feel powerless. Your anxiety. It's telling you that something in your life is off balance. Your fear. It is telling you what you care about. Your apathy. It's telling you where you're overextended and burnt out. That is from Brianna Weist. Actually, Weist sa iba, pero it's a German thing, Weist. In any case, ito pong daily starter, I would ask all of you to go through it, if you would, because we tend to try to ignore our feelings or exaggerate our feelings. But if we let our feelings speak to us, it can really tell us what is right and what is wrong in our lives, in our bodies, even in our spiritual and mental health. I initially kind of just skimmed through this message, but for some reason, I guess the Holy Spirit was leading me back to it, and it spoke to me in volumes. Kasi po, kumisang pag mainitin ang ulo natin, we tend to be short-tempered. It's true. Sometimes we get short-tempered because we can't seem to be able to control situations or do something about a situation. Yung ating mga pag-aalala, pangamba, it's telling us kung saan tayo medyo baka sobra na tayong pagod, sobra tayong OC, etc. So, I just ask you to reflect on it. It's from Brianna Weist, and it is your anger. Your anger, it's telling you where you feel powerless. Your anxiety, it's telling you that something in your life is off balance. Your fear, it's telling you what you care about. Your apathy, yung pagka walang pake, it's telling you where you're overextended and burnout. Kumbaga, ayoko na, wala akong pake. Okay, let's now move to the front page of the Philippine Star. And the headlines of today's Star is in-person classes for all levels eyed in January. Minamata-mata. Hindi minamata. Hindi. Well, wrong. Again, in person, being eyed in January. They're looking to January for classes for all levels, okay? And face-to-face classes okayed for all college programs. But, okay, here's the big but. It all depends on whether the pilot program of the DepEd is going to be successful, consistently successful, and does not raise any red flags. and they will submit a report to the president, to President Rodrigo Duterte, who will then in turn approve or disapprove the expansion of such classes for 2022 beginning January. Now, for college levels, the plan is phased, face-to-face programs, limited persons face-to-face, but first with colleges in level 2, alert level 2 areas, who they have to apply with the CHED and with the IATF, I presume. And by January 2022, those in the alert level 3 areas will then have the chance to apply for resumption of all college programs, but still limited number. So, yan po ay kumbaga, no, wish ko lang. Wish ko lang. Wish nating lahat. But we have yet to see. Yeah, okay? Now, for the header of the Philippine Star, Sara chairs Lakas tandem with Marcos confirmed. Sara Duterte has taken over chairmanship of the Lakas Christian Muslim Democratic or CMD party, since she will now be the president. Well, she's not the president, but no, but she's part of the party now, and she will be running for the highest office. So, ginawa siyang chairperson or chairman. Okay. And they have confirmed that tuloy ang samahan ng Marcos at ng Sara Duterte. BBM sa Inday Sara tandem. Okay, now let's go further down in the front page. 600,000 health workers will be the target of the DOH for the first batch of booster shots for healthcare workers. Like I mentioned yesterday, there are over a million. There is out of 1.6 million healthcare workers in the master list, 600,000 ang target na unahin. That photo you see are healthcare workers receiving COVID-19 booster shots at the SM Aura in Taguig City yesterday. So yan po, good news po yan. And that is evidence that the vaccination program is moving along now on schedule kasi marami na pong bakunang nag-arrive. Okay. Now, further down, the FDA gives India's Covax EUA. If you recall, about a year ago, or no, more than a year ago, we had interviewed the representatives of the company behind the Indian vaccine, Covax vaccine manufactured by the Serum Institute of India. And finally, the FDA, Philippine FDA, has given it emergency use authorization in the Philippines. So yan po, merong additional vaccine brand that will now be allowed in the Philippines. Okay, and there you go. You have in the middle of the Philippine Star a baby inoculated with a 5-in-1 vaccine against diphtheria, tetanus, whooping cough, polio, hemophilus, influenza type B at the Katmon Super Health Center in Malabon yesterday. Please, if you have grandchildren, babies, you have workers who have babies, etc., please remind them to have the children vaccinated because sa Holland po, sa Netherlands, yan po yung pinagmumula ng problema nila. Yung mga batang hindi bakunado ang nagkakalat ng COVID-19. Okay, let's go further into the newspaper front page. COVID cases may drop to 500 by year end. According to Octa fellow Guido David, the Philippines may see drop to less than 500 by the year end if we all behave, if we all observe minimum health protocols, and that the COVID cases do not rise. However, eto na naman parang sampal ng katotohanan. It is now the number of new cases 1,190 as of yesterday. Kahapon, konti na lang yan. Hundreds na lang yan kahapon. Now, it's 1,119 and 90. And my biggest concern, my greatest woe, is that the number of Filipinos that died from COVID-19 yesterday totaled 309. And ayun po, we did not even reach the weekend and we breached 46,117 total number of Filipinos na namatay, nasawi, pumanaw because of COVID-19. I appeal to all of you who are not vaccinated, please, parang awa nyo na sa sarili ninyo at sa mga nagmamahal sa inyo, magpabakuna na po kayo. Okay, back to the newspaper. I hope there is something, nako, ewan ko if this qualifies as good news, but whether it qualifies, the COMELEC has disqualified 126 of 270 party list groups. Okay, God honest truth, there should have been more, and there should be other current party lists who should also be disqualified, but that's not part of the news. So the Commission on Election disqualified 126 out of 270 party list groups. Ayan po. Okay, now let's move on to other news items at mahaba pa ang ating biyahe. Okidoki, DILG to close businesses violating health protocols. USEC Jonathan Malaya issued a warning to all business establishments taking advantage of the relaxed alert level protocols who may be tempted or who could be careless about the required health measures in their premises. Kumbaga, yung kanilang mga number of customers allowed or occupancy rate, as well as the check for vaccination cards, as well as vaccination of all employees, etc., etc. If you are found in violation, you will have a not Merry Christmas, you will have a poor Christmas because you will be closed. Okay. And further down, okay, PLDT's Chua named 2021 ING Phoenix CFO of the Year for the second straight year, honoring game-changing CFOs. The country's most outstanding finance steward is once again a woman. This time, PLDT's Annabelle Lim Chua was awarded the 2021 ING Phoenix CFO of the Year in the 5th edition of the longest running and most prestigious award program for finance chief officers. Okay. And last but not the least, isang lugar na miss ko na. Okay. Uh, Good morning to Nedi Tantoco. Rustans has launched its Christmas Village, a one-stop shop for all holiday needs. Open until December 31, shoppers will experience a personalized Rustans Christmas like no other as they discover unique home decor, accents, trees, trimmings, food boxes, gifts, and tokens of their dream holiday. Kasi alam niyo po, pagdating sa Pasko, ang Rustans medyo magarbo. And, it's almost like you were on a tour abroad. Okay. Now, as I promised, I will introduce you today to someone who, if you hear and read and see him in action, parang hindi mo akalain na siya pala ay, among others, holder of a master's degree in project management from the University of New South Wales, Australia. Nakapag-aral na siya doon. Ako hindi pa ako nakatungtong doon. He got executive education program in Harvard University. Hindi pa rin ako nakatungtong doon, sa labas lang ng Harvard University, sa isang barang inabot ko. Asian Institute of Management Center for Bridging Leadership. Hindi ko magawang mag-apply doon. Fort Benning, Georgia Infantry Officer Advanced Course. Military Operation Research Symposium in Singapore, Crisis Management Course in Hawaii, Terrorism Conference, NDUDC, Rules of Engagement in San Remo, Italy, isa pang lugar na hindi ako pwedeng tumungtong. He was former Chief of Staff of the Armed Forces of the Philippines and Presidential Peace Advisor since 2018. And hindi ko kinahiya sabing one of the most successful, effective government officials now, Secretary Carlito Charlie Galvez Jr. Sir, good morning, sir.
Sir, good morning po, Sir Cito. Maraming salamat po sa kind words and I'm very happy to see you. And sorry po, ngayon lang po ako nakapag-paunlak po sa inyo. Maraming salamat po.
Busy kayo kanya. Okay lang yun, sir. Kasi napagbigyan nyo naman kami nung umpisa at ngayong medyo humahapo na yung ating disaster. Thanks to your continued efficient service, pwede na tayo uling magkakwentuhan. But Sir Charlie, Secretary Galvez, medyo nakakasindak yung resume mo. Ano ba ito? Talaga bang kinareer mo itong mga courses na ito? Because, most people just dream of AB and master's degree. Ikaw, ang dami mong course na kinuha.
Sir, actually, sir, ganun sir sa military po, sir. Bali...
Sir, please lang, wag niyo akong ise-sir, no? Kasi ang layo ng antas ng kaalaman niyo sa akin. I feel, it's inappropriate for you to call me sir.
Ganyan po kasi yung namin po sa sa PMA na always address a lady, ma'am, and also yung a gentleman as sir lagi. Yun po po namin. And then
okay,
sa PMA po kasi at sa po sa military, talagang ganyan po ang ginagawa po yung sa officer, parang pagka may potential ka, they are honing you to cover a lot of positions. So ang ginagawa ng military natin, binibigyan ka ng masters abroad at saka yung tinatawag natin yung mga courses na it will really prepare you to do something big. So ganun ang ginagawa natin. So mostly yung mga general, they have six schooling abroad. Normally po yan. Yun po ang po namin. And we are very thankful that the government, lalo na po ang ating mahal na presidente, they're putting so much premium sa services po ng mga sundalo po natin.
Hindi kayo pwedeng maging general unless ma-achieve mo yung 6 programs na yun, Sec Galvez?
Yes, sir. Kasi sana po, yung tinatawag po natin, bago yung promotion po natin ng captain to major, kailangan may advanced course po kayo. So yung advanced course po sa Fort Benning, that's my requisite to become a major. And then meron tayong tinatawag na masteral para po tayo makuha po ng brigade status at saka meron po tayong tinatawag na Command and General Staff College to become key positions holder ng battalion, brigade, and even division commander. So pagka po mga position na, for example, yung mga special positions, for example, I'm the Chief Operations of the Armed Forces of the Philippines. So bibigyan ka ng courses sa crisis management, courses dun sa project management. Napakaganda po ng schooling at saka tinatawag nating education and military training program ng military po. Napakaganda.
Hindi ko lang masabi, Sec Charlie, kung sino sa atin ang mas matanda. Kasi parang feeling ko mas matanda ako. So I'm 65 right now. Magkalayo ba tayo ng edad?
Sir, po ako? Pag 58 na po ako. Mag-59 po ako this coming December.
kanya ko natanong yung edad na yon kasi parang to be able to have all those achievements take a lot of time, many years. When did all of this begin for you? Anong edad po ba kayo nag-umpisa? At saka talaga bang inambisyon mo, kinarir mo na magpi-PMA ako, magiging sundalo ako, etc.?
Yes, opo, bale po 17 years pa lang po ako ng mga bata pa lang po ako ng mga 14 years old. Nakita ko na kasi yung, uncle ko na pumasok sa PMA, so he's my inspiration. And then, 17 years old na, katatapos ko lang po sa high school, pumasok na po ako sa PMA.
Okay, now, yung buhay na yon, military, etc. Bakit hindi nakukuwento lahat yung mga rigid requirements na yan? Kasi pasensya ka na, medyo may pagkapilosopo ko, Sec. Galvez, no? Kasi kayo sa military, hindi namin alam that you are required to have all of those college degree, masteral, special training, etc. Yung mga nasa civil, nasa government, kung minsan connection lang makakakuha na ng promotion, eh. Bakit hindi kinikwento sa military yung mga standards and requirements na yan?
Sir, kasi nakita natin yung military kasi very ano yun, one of the most, secretive na organization. Pero yun nga, kukulang siguro kami ng pagpapaunawa sa ating mga kababayan kung ano yung mga pinagdaanan po namin. Pero ang ano
Mhm,
po, may ladderized po kasi ng development ang, ating leaders development po natin, eh. One is yung commandership, and then after commandership, yung pong tinatawag nating strategic thinking, and then later on parang statesmanship. So gano'n po ang ano po, eh, after you have been a leader, a commander. So we will be aiming to be a general, yung tinatawag namin generalship. And then afterwards, ang ano po namin, ang training namin is not only serving the armed forces, but also serving the nation. So yung
mhm.
statesmanship po, yun po ang inano namin, nag-aaralan namin ako to become a statesman and gentleman in performing our job as a civilian and also as a executive in the government. So yun po ang ano po, parang ladderized po yan namin. So every position before we are preparing our soldiers and our officers before holding a position. Kailangan equip na po siya, training at saka po yung experience. So yung training and experience, binabalanse po lagi po yan. So sa
Yeah,
ngayon, nakita po
yes,
namin, prepared na prepared po kami talaga sa sa executive branch kasi yun po ang training namin, eh. If we're given the mission, we will execute it and we will accomplish it.
yeah, because after going through your resume, and I've also gone through other resumes of other military officers, I realized na kasi remember nung nag-recruit si Presidente ng mga retired military, and even in past presidents, laging sinasabi, militarization of government, puro na lang games of the generals, etc. And I think that it is simply because people are ignorant of the ladderized and very thorough education process that you guys go through. And it's only now, but with you saying it, that I realize na totoo nga pala, pag nag-retire ka sa military, which is I think what, age 56,
Yes, yes, sir.
parang bitin, di ba? Nag-aral
Opo,
ka ng husto, nag-training ka pa, tapos biglang sasabihin, sige, doon ka na sa pastulan. Parang napaka-unfair.
opo, yun po talaga po ang training namin. Even sa PMA po, when we made the roadmap of PMA, ang ano po namin talaga isang future ano niya is yung serving as a leader in the military and also the organizations after retirement. So our life in the military does not end in the armed forces, but also beyond the armed forces. So yung tinitingnan
Mhm.
namin na like the West Point na binisita namin doon, West Point at saka Annapolis, normally karamihan po ng mga public servants sa US at saka yung nag-drive ng mga companies, basically mga ano po yan, mga retired at saka mga resigned military officer.
Okay, so would you recommend that we'd have a pre-departure transition program for military officers so they could actually be further utilized in the civilian government? Kasi, of course, all of your education, and no offense meant, is funded by the taxpayer.
Yes, sir.
So, dapat lang siguro na masulit yung kaalaman ninyong lahat.
Yes, sir. Kaya nga po yung ano po natin, yung training po ng military, ang ano namin, ang orientation po namin is after retirement, we will not stop. We still serve the nation through other
Okay.
capacities in the private sector or maybe in the government.
Okay. Now you're doing that, and my hats off to you, and sincere gratitude for a job well done with this vaccine program. Now, did you ever imagine yourself, kasi alam mo sir, yung maging advisor ka for military, intelligence, etc., peace and order, parang normal na lang yun. But to become the vaccine czar, a lot of us were scratching our heads. Parang, how is he going to deal with this? But you dealt with it magnificently. What was your secret? How did you do it?
So actually sir, nung binigyan po ako ng task ng ating mahal na presidente nung August, I refused kasi sabi ko, sir, hindi ako doktor, hindi ko alam mga vaccine. But he said that kasi si presidente may nakya na pagka nakita niya isang tao, alam niya na magagawa niya yung paggagawa niya. So sabi niya, please help me in producing the vaccine. So nung tiningnan namin yung prospects, normally yung sa vaccine kasi more on logistics yan at negotiation. And I have a good experience on negotiation considering that I negotiated peace doon sa area ng Southern Mindanao. I stayed for almost 12 years in Mindanao and negotiating peace with our comrades. Ang natin is yung experience ko na yun and also yung diplomatic relations ko being the armed forces. Nagkaroon ako ng diplomatic relations with the different countries. Basically, yung negotiation of vaccine is more on diplomatic. So,
Mhm.
maganda yung diplomatic relations natin, maganda yung diplomatic capital ng ating mahal na presidente. We were able to gather the different portfolio. So, maganda ang relationship natin sa China, maganda ang relationship natin sa US, and then also yung mga diplomatic relationship natin sa Europe, yung aming mga diplomatic relationship sa peace process, nagamit po namin yun at saka maganda po ang ano. And then with that, maganda rin po yung perspective ng forward looking natin sa procurement. And we also have some guidance from the Asian Development Bank, World Bank, at saka po yung Asian Infrastructure Bank. And then they're the one giving us the knowledge on how to negotiate the best price dito sa vaccine. So napakaganda na natin. And sa ngayon natutuwa nga po ako dahil magwa 140 million na po tayo by the end of November. 140 million doses.
Okay, now, how big a team? Gaano kadami yung mga tauhan mo or yung grupo mo to undertake this? Kasi 140 ba kanyo? 114 million vaccines.
100 bali po ang na-secure po natin na Sir Cito is 197 for the year,
Ah,
197 million.
wow, okay. Now, how big
197
a
million.
team? Kasi parang, alam mo, Sec Charlie, medyo it's a good learning thing. Kumbaga, para matuto naman kaming mga citizens how you guys operate, how you do it. Gaano ba kalaki yung team mo that undertook all of these negotiations? And I remember you had to travel to India, you had to,
Yes.
did you even have to go to Russia if I'm not mistaken?
I supposed to be makapunta kami sa Russia but the limitations ng tinatawag nating quarantine, hindi po kami nakapunta. But in India, maganda po ang naging experience po namin. Yung team po namin is composed of Yusek Mark Hoben, si Sec Vince, and also Sec Vince Dison. Also,
Mhm.
we have also yung four lawyers ng Department of Finance. And also we have Yusek Jorge, yung Chief Protocol ng ating mahal na presidente, na siya ang nakakonect sa lahat ng mga embassy. So yung team namin na yun talagang very trained at saka si Yusek Hoben is also graduate Harvard on law, and also he is number one sa namin sa sa board na ng accounting. Kaya
Mhm.
magaling yung buong team dahil kasi talagang yung finance team namin are well trained at saka sila nagne-negotiate sa mga contracts with the different countries sa foreign investments po natin. So magaling po talaga yung team na nabuo ni Secretary Dominguez at saka si Secretary Dominguez po at saka Secretary Duque. Kasama po namin sa negotiations. Sila po ang pumipirma at kami tatlo. And then also we have Director Atoy from the DOH. So yung team po namin from DOH, Department of Finance, dito po sa National Task Force at saka po sa SecPins. Tsaka kasama po yung mga DFA, yung lahat po ng mga ambassadors po natin. So kasama po namin nag-negotiate in order to have yung tinatawag nating very affordable price na makuha natin yung vaccine. And
Okay.
also yung different AAP po natin, yung mga attaché, ginagamit po natin yun para at least yung diplomatic accommodations, magkaroon po tayo ng mga magandang relations dun sa mga manufacturer. Actually,
Ayun, go ahead, sir.
actually sa Cito, ang talagang po yung negotiation is more on the diplomatic relations that we established.
Yeah, I wanted to ask that, Sec Charlie, kasi when head of states meet up for whatever treaties, agreements, usually planchado na eh. The diplomats work things out, so you
Yes.
just kind of show up and shake hands and sign. But in this particular situation of procuring the vaccines, did you ever find yourself having to meet people across the table and negotiating prices, volumes, etc., or naplansya na bago ka pa dumating doon?
Napakahirap po, Sir Cito. Actually, may time na talagang parang very frustrated ka kasi you want to get the volumes. And also, kasi ang pinaka-importante dyan, tatlong klase po, Sir Cito. You have to negotiate for the volume, then you have to negotiate for the price, and you have to negotiate for the time of delivery. So, may time na nagne-negotiate kami from October to November and December. Wala pa kaming nakukuha na vaccine, and we are very worried, and the President is already worried na wala pa kami nasa-sign na contract. And there are times na talagang very frustrated kami dahil kasi time na magsa-sign na kami and then later merong mga provisions na isang provision lang na hindi namin mapagkasunduan. So napakahirap. Actually, it's a learning process for us. At saka maganda ring maging lessons learned in negotiating, in negotiations and also in successful acquisitions ng certain goods like the vaccine. So
What were your major lessons learned? Kasi I remember one of the surprise or yung ika nga bulaga sa inyo was yung bang requirement of the manufacturers for indemnification.
yes, yes.
Medyo sabi namin bago yata yan.
Yes.
And I work with these companies every now and then. Even I was surprised with that requirement.
Yes, pinaka-most challenging sa atin because of the Dengbax experience. Nakita natin na talaga yung manufacturer, they are afraid that they will be like yung Sanofi na talagang na-charge into court. So ayaw nila ng ganun. So talagang napakahirap. So kung titingnan natin yung sa indemnity clause at saka immunity clause, napakahirap talagang we dealt with this more or less kahit na nakita namin sa isang manufacturer, we dealt this provisions of immunity and indemnity for almost 3 months. 3 months. Talaga akala namin talagang nagsisigawan na kami and then nakikita natin na napakahirap talaga na on the bridge of collapsing yung contract. But the best lessons learned that we had is really ang namin dito is patience, really a virtue of negotiation. Kailangan talaga yung patience mo is there. Talagang nandun din yung tinatawag mo yung inyong decorum, hindi ka nagagalit. So
Hindi,
yun
pikon talo, Sec
yes,
Charlie.
kailangan talaga yung decorum mo as a officer and a gentleman na handun pa rin talaga. And kailangan na handun, hindi mawala yung respect and trust between the two parties. Kasi pagka once na nawala ang trust, nawala ang confidence sa bawat isa, talagang talagang hindi magsasucceed. But here, Sir Cito, I want to tell the people that almost all of our contracts have been successfully done. Especially yung lahat yung itong Novavax, ito tutuloy din namin yung sa India. And hopefully ito na yung last namin na maging successful. Pagka once na naging successful itong Novavax, all of our contracts, yung 7 contracts namin are all successful.
Okay, let's go for a quick break, Secretary Galvez, and pagbalik natin, let's talk further about current developments, plans, etc. We'll be right back here on Agenda. Welcome back to the program agenda. Thank you for joining us this morning, and thank you to PLDT Home Fiber Optic Internet for their reliable, consistent, fast internet service. With us today is, and I do hope you started the program early. We have with us Secretary Carlito Charlie Galvez Jr., NTF Chief Implementer, and Vaccine Czar. Secretary Galvez, balikan natin yung negotiation. The first and major lesson you said was most important was patience. Patience, not to lose your temper, to maintain your decorum, and pikon palo. But what were the negotiations like? Kasi parang many situations, para lang naman tayong bumibili ng isang bagay. But at that time that you were negotiating, the entire world was competing against you,
Yes.
and you didn't exactly come from a very rich cash loaded country. So ano ba sila, parang ini-snub ka ba, or parang nangi-small ba sila, or was it just, show your money and we'll show you our vaccines?
Actually, ang magandang ano nito yung mga companies. They shared also the common interest of really saving lives and saving the global economy, and also saving the interest of yung tinatawag nating global interest. Ang
Mhm.
nakita namin na maganda rin yung sa mga companies na to. They have already allocated some vaccines to different countries. And ang natin doon is ma-consummate natin yung negotiation. Ang nakita namin dito, ang kagandahan lang is some companies like AstraZeneca and also Pfizer and also yung Sinovac, they shared yung common interest of really helping the Philippines diplomatically. So yun ang naging and then with that, ang maganda naging appeal ng team is that please help us, parang ganon, please help us. Parang ang namin, appeal namin, our people are dying, our cases are rising, our economy is also slumping, talagang we need your help. So yung
Mhm.
appeal ngayon parang it come to them very strong and very appealing na talaga yung empathy nila sa Pilipinas na makatulong sila ay parang kumbaga napaabot namin yung Sir Cito eh. Kasi yung
Mhm.
tawag natin sa negotiation, you have to make an appeal. You make to make some sort of a statement na we need these vaccines. Without these vaccines, we will be all dead. So yun ang namin, yung parang naging namin sa table. And because of they're also their kind-hearted intention of really not selling selling their vaccines at a lower price. Karamihan pa dito is talagang they sell it at cost, meaning parang kumbaga sa very marginal lang yung tinatawag natin na yung price niya. And
Pero
their primary consideration is really to help our cases go down.
okay, that's commendable, but I have to ask the question kasi secretary, no? Kasi
Opo.
siyempre nasa media ako. There were people who are wondering, ano ba yan? Naging buy one, take one deal ba yan? Or meron bang kapalit yan in the future? Because people were amazed that some companies were like Pfizer dropping their prices, Sinovac giving vaccines by the hundreds of thousands. Was there something there we didn't know, or was your team just really good at casting that emotional appeal?
Yes, gano'n ang nakita namin na talagang yung aming negotiation is really above board na talagang what we really want is really to have that vaccine in the shoulders of our countrymen. Ang naging maganda lang na naging magandang relationship lang natin is because the diplomatic people is also involved, and considering that the relationship that we had,
Mhm.
it really gives some evidence na talaga nakatulong 'yon. Especially like for example sa negotiation namin sa Pfizer, yung US Embassy talaga nakatulong. And also gano'n din sa China na talagang yun 'no, yung Sinovac, yung Chinese Embassy also nakatulong yun, tsaka yung sa Russian Ambassador. Without their help, I think mahihirapan po kami. And then ang nagiging
Mhm.
pressure yun sa manufacturer that yun ang naging parang concessions na that the diplomatic relations that we had is one of the na on the table. So yung ties natin, economic ties, and also yung tinatawag nating military ties, and also the different relationship that we have brought forth with our diplomatic engagement
Mhm.
prior. I really wanted na yung ano yan, achievement na yan is not only during our administration but also yung previous administration's relationship that they have established with our
Mhm.
foreign countries. Naging maganda. At saka sa Cito, tingnan nyo, hindi sa negotiations natin na yung pagbili, but also the negotiations with the COVAX. Surprisingly, 35 million ang dinonate sa akin without any cost. Pati yung delivery sila ang bayan. So kumbaga
But
sa
how did that happen, Sec Galvez? Kasi ikaw mismo sinasabi mo ngayon there's a tinge of surprise or amazement na nabigyan tayo ng 35 million. Anong naging dahilan na binigay sa atin 'yon?
because one thing nakita natin na isa tayo sa mga tinamaan talaga ng ano. We became one of the epicenters ng pandemic na to. And then ang nakita
Mhm,
natin yung normally yung different countries like France, EU, and also Germany, Australia, they pitted as being one of the most hit. Nakita nila, di ba, 17% ang economy natin na bumagsak. And
mhm,
yung empathy ng ibang countries to really help us to recover, nandun eh. And
mhm.
those embassies are present here in the Philippines. We really thank them, yung partners natin na talagang they work hard with their no with their presidents and all with their government. Na talagang mabigyan
Okey.
tayo ng possession na tayo maging priority for access and for donation. So kung
'Yun
makita
ba
natin,
yung Okay, yun ba yung dahilan, Sec Charlie, na kung bakit si Pangulong Duterte, every now and then would personally be at the
yes,
airport to welcome
yes,
kasi pasensya na 'no, I
yes,
need
yes,
to explain this to the public, eh.
opo.
Kasi may mga nagtataka, "Ano ba naman, bakuna lang 'yan, ba't kailangan pang pumunta ng pangulo diyan?" Yun ba yung dahilan, the diplomatic recognition?
Yes, yes. Basically, alam mo, nagtataka nga sila bakit pumupunta si Presidente doon. Bakit ako halos araw-araw pumupunta sa airport. Ang ano kasi, ang importante doon yung personal thanks na every vaccine that will be received by us, it really means saving lives. For example, kung 1 million yan, that's 500,000 lives that will be saved and protected by the
Mm,
vaccine. Yung gratitude at saka yung acceptance at saka yung tinatawag natin yung act of compassion na ginawa po ng foreign countries. We want to express our gratitude and expression of empathy na talagang we really appreciated this kind of kindness that
kasama na
we really need in time of need. Sa kanila malaking ano yan eh. Sa kanila sa diplomatic relation napakalaking
hmm,
encouragement sa kanila yan. Tsaka nakapagtataba ng puso sa kanila yan na talagang they
yun.
want to give more. Nagtaka kami yung sa British government, they gave only 415,000. Then yun, nung makita nila na talagang we really thank them, we gave award to the ambassador. And then ang nangyari, nung nagpunta sa akin yung ambassador ng UK, they promised to give 5.2 million as a Seneca. So yun ang nakita
Mhm.
namin na yung tinatawag natin na yung deepening relations between countries at saka yung tinatawag natin getting together at saka yung appeal ng presidente during the ASEAN at saka yung during APEC and also during the UN convention wherein he appealed to the rich countries to give access to poor countries like us. So yung
Okay.
appeal nun na naging maganda yun and also the COVAX. Maganda ang naging ng COVAX at saka yung Gavi and WHO. I would like to thank you si Dr. Ravi yung sa WHO na he's
Mhm.
very aggressive in helping our people. So we really thank them because really we appreciated yung more than 35 million. And then they committed also to bring more or less 30 to 40 million more donations to us.
Okay, Sec Galvez, my worry, and siguro baka nabasa mo yung column ko nun, baka naasar ka pa sa akin nun, eh. Pero
Yes, sorry.
no,
Yeah,
sinabi ko,
yeah,
ako pinoproblema ko 2022, kayo inaalala niyo 2021, baka 2022 kapusin tayo. We will still have to buy more vaccines, and now you're doing a good job of getting booster
yes,
vaccines
po.
available. What is the situation going to look like for you and for all of us in 2022? Mas madali na ba? Or are you still going to have to work just as hard as you are working now?
Mas madali na po sir kasi nakita natin actually yung plano na po namin nagtataka nga yung iba nung when I ano, presented the plan to the public. Sabi niya, "Bakit 2025 pa yung ano, yung plano mo hanggang 2025?" Kasi ang nakita namin yung ano, yung vaccination, tinatawag natin ito vaccination, we have to ano, to concentrate on how we will end this pandemic. Yung tinatawag natin yung the exit strategy. So our exit strategy is talagang kailangan yung steady supply of vaccine. You should plan that on 2021, 2022, 2023. So we are planning beyond 2022. We are even planning beyond 2024 and 2025. So ang ano namin ngayon, maganda yung naging relationship namin sa manufacturer. It will be easier for us to procure for the boosters. Actually po yung aming magandang relationship with other countries, it generated a lot of donations and a lot of savings. So yung ano po, yung first quarter po natin ng 2022, wala na po tayong problema dahil kasi meron po tayong savings ng 20 million na kininegotiate na namin ngayon. And also, those deliveries in December, it will be allocated for 2022 already. So,
Mhm.
and also we do also thank the Senate that we are given 16 billion for the procurement of vaccine, and also we were assured by the different multilateral partners, the Asian Development Bank, World Bank, and also Asian Infrastructure Bank, that will be given 45 billion or more or less $900 million. So ito po, more than enough po ito para sa ano po, more than 90 million boosters.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
wala na po tayong problema po next year.
Okay, Secretary, please correct me if I'm wrong because I don't know much about what's going on there. But because you are a task force, tama ba yung, am I correct in thinking that you are a temporary entity tasked with a long-term challenge? Should the National Task Force become a government office, etc., para talagang regardless of politics and administration, that team can carry on delivering the much needed supply of vaccines, etc., etc.?
Sir, maganda po yung ano yung organization ng National Task Force. It is in an integrated approach wherein all agencies are there. And we have a different task group. And we have one of the task group there is task group procurement and diplomatic engagement. And with that,
Mm.
with the task force, talagang very, even though hindi siya permanent, but we were able to integrate the different agencies. Nakita ko po, sir, kahit na yung task force na yun ay hindi maging regular agency, kaya po natin na itawid po ito ng 2020, 2022 and 2023. Kasi ang maganda po dito is halos araw-araw at every week, we are reporting to the president on the output that we have undertake at saka ano yung mga dapat pa namin gawin ay
Mm.
nire-report namin sa kanya every week. So sa ngayon nakita namin na yung organization ng National Task Force at IATF, which is sanctioned by the NDRMC plan, yung tinatawag natin nasa National Disaster Reduction Plan na LOYAN, nandun na Sir Cito. Kumbaga sa ano
Mhm.
yung work namin under the OCD and yung trabaho namin under the DND and also the DOH, nakahulma na po yun eh.
Oo.
Nakahulma na po yun.
But you're trained, nag-aral ka regarding management, executive planning, etc., and you were the chief of staff of the armed forces. Sa tingin mo, sa assessment mo, pwede pa ring maging temporary transitional entity yung NTF, or dapat bang medyo gawin na nating opisina sa gobyerno yan para hindi na natin pinag-iisipan pa?
Sir, actually meron naman tayo na ano eh, yung na National Disaster Risk Management team
Yeah,
natin, council natin. Meron
oo.
na po yan na under na po nasa law yan eh. So we are working on under those tinatawag natin
Ah,
structures. So basically nandun na po yun eh.
mm,
It's already structured. And then considering that yung NTF po, parang ano po yan eh, pagkakatulad for example, magkakaroon tayo ng National Vaccination Day na 3 days, we will expand our operations. So daily, day out, yung battle rhythm namin mataas. Pagka medyo nag-ano na konti, medyo mag-ano na po kami parang accordion.
Okay.
And then
Ah,
parang meron kaming tinatawag na accordion, open, close, open, close. Kasi pagka
mm.
ginawa po natin yung organization na nasa disaster, pagka yung tempo natin may crisis tayo talaga na nagra-rise ang natin, i-expand natin yun, 'no. Kung regular po kasi medyo po yan, wala pong integrative, po yung pero the task force can have an integrating at saka synergy, battle talaga. Pagka po kasi sa task force parang po natin sa task force, parang battle stop po yan, may battle
Mhm. Madaling manghila kaysa
yes
sa
po,
yung permanent
yes,
structure,
yes,
madaming proseso,
yes, sir.
legalities, mga
Yes,
permits. Okay.
yes,
Kanya ako nagtatanong kasi may
opo,
matututunan ako.
opo.
Okay, Sec Galvez, let's go for a quick break again. Pagbalik naman natin, what is in store for the future? Kasi maski na yung aking anak na nasa Holland, sinabi, paano nangyari na kami sa Netherlands nag-red country kami at ang Pilipinas ay nakaalis na sa red country list. Okay, we'll go for a quick break. Secretary Galvez will be right back here on Agenda. Welcome back to the program Agenda. And with us this morning is the vaccine Czar and chief implementer at the National Task Force for Vaccination. Secretary Galvez, paano nangyari na may mga, I don't know, no, parang, kasi I was shocked to find out, like countries like, what do you call this, countries like New Zealand, where I have a sister, sabi sa akin, mabuti pa kayo dyan sa Pilipinas, ang taas na ng vaccination rate ninyo. And then my daughter who is studying in Holland, in the Netherlands, she told me that they're now on the red list of countries and people are kind of surprised. How did the Philippines do it?
Ano po natin, maganda po kasi sa atin, regularly, meron tayong mga expert at saka yung private sector natin napakataas ng level ng tinatawag nating engagement with us. So ang sa amin sa National Task Force, every 8 o'clock po ng Monday, meron po kami tinatawag na yung Boston Consulting Group, which is given to us by Ayala and also the T3. Nagkakaroon kami ng tinatawag na yung global awareness kung ano yung nangyayari sa abroad at saka yung tinatawag nating global pandemic curve. Ang maganda doon parang nakikita namin sa Pilipinas yung future operations namin o kung ano yung magiging susunod na mga hakbang namin kasi
So,
we are addressing an unknown and unseen enemy. And the worst action that you underestimate it. I believe some countries underestimate the pandemic. Nakita natin lower sila ng guard. For example, Israel, they thought that the vaccine can solve everything, but it proves us that it is not. Basically, vaccine will give us only added protection, but the primary defense that we have is the minimum health standard, the discipline that we have to implement, the masking and also the tinatawag natin social distancing and also yung tinatawag na self-awareness na kailangan hindi tayo ma-infect. So yun ang
okay,
nakita natin isa sa mga magandang strategy natin na nakita natin si Sec Duque. Talagang he is always empathic na sabi, huwag tayong mag-relax. Wag nating wag tayong i-maintain pa rin natin yung social distancing. wag tayong magkaroon ng mass gathering and so forth and so on.
Okay, Sec Charlie, I'm worried. No, I'm sincerely, honestly worried because all the countries that had a recurrent surge or a or a defeat, so to speak, were the countries that were in election mode, campaign
Yes.
mode. Israel, India, even Holland just had their elections. So parang nakita ko yung pattern. Eh tayo, papasok pa lang tayo sa kampanya, elections. What are you guys thinking of doing to make sure that we don't fall in the same pit as all those other countries did?
One is, ang pinaka natin talaga is we should maintain the chain of protection. Yung tatawag namin ngayon, yung kailangan hindi mo broken yung chain of protection eh. Sa vaccination nakita namin, isang sa mga nakita rin namin talaga, totoo yun na India, yung Israel, and also US, nakita natin nagkaroon ng tinatawag nating repercussions yung negative ramification yung election. So ngayon ang ginawa naming strategy is dapat we also anchored our vaccinations on the elections. Before February election day, nagkaroon ng election period, kailangan vaccinated na halos yung all of our vulnerable sector. So yun ang target namin ng WHO and also with DOH now. By February, kailangan vaksinado na yung mga senior citizens natin, yung mga vulnerables, and also yung ating healthcare system ay kailangan well protected. Kaya that's why yesterday, Sec Duque and I, nagano kami ng boosters doon sa NKTI because we wanted that before the cases will rise again, kailangan protected na yung ating mga healthcare workers. So
Okay.
ganun ang ginagawa namin yun. And then also,
Sec Charlie, what about measures against anti-vaxxers or people who refuse to be vaccinated? Kasi may mga bansa, I'm sorry, medyo, alam mo, malimutin na rin ako sa mga nababasa ko. They have issued policies where if you're not vaccinated, you have to stay home. If you are not vaccinated, you cannot report for work. Or if you are not vaccinated and you get sick, you cannot avail of public health services. Pasensya na lang, hindi ko matandaan yung mga bansa. But these are facts. And what about the Philippines? Are we going to get tough on people na hanggang ngayon parang iwas bakuna pa rin?
sa ngayon po ginagawa po natin, kaya minsan po sa aming mga pronouncement that in some cases we have to mandate talaga yung vaccination as we have mandated yung children vaccination before. So nakikita natin talaga that's the way forward. But pero maganda dito sa Pilipinas, napapaangat ang ating tinatawag nating acceptance at saka yung uptake. Before we have only 16% na talaga yung uptake natin, then 46, then now 64. And then we have heard that ang nakita namin talagang strictly talagang nagre-reject ng vaccine is only 16%. So marami tayong ginagawang strategy in order to increase yung demand. Kasi nakita na namin yan, Sir Cito, na by early March hanggang October, ang problema natin supply driven. But times ng October na marami na tayong vaccine, ito ang magiging problema natin is logistics and demand driven, meaning on how to dispose our supply to the arms of our fellow men and on how to increase yung demand. Kaya ginagawa natin ngayon, ang strategy natin ngayon, kaya natin inopen yung children vaccination, yung 12 to 17, para mag-increase ang ating demand. So the demand will increase from below 18. And then later ngayon yung boosters, the demand for boosters, we increase it from A1 to A3. Makikita natin ngayon yung ginagawa naming strategy sa bandwagon strategy. Wherein pagka nakita ng bandwagon strategy, na pagka nakita ng isang kapitbahay, uy, nakakatatlo na siya, bakit ako wala pa? Uy, wala naman nangyari sa kanya. So, pabakuna na rin ako. So, ganun kasi yung sa atin, pad ang ano natin.
Sec Charlie, pasensya ka na, naubusan na tayo ng oras, and I would just like to take this opportunity to pray for you that the Lord would bless you, protect you, and protect your family and all your team members at the NTF and the allied departments and agencies, that God would bless all of you and watch over you and bless the work of your hands. Sir, thank you very much for your time. Sana makaulit tayo sa susunod na kabanata.
Sige po, opo, wala po problema po. I will be present po.
Okay, thank you very much, Secretary Carlito Galvez. At I now end today's program with this blessing, beloved. I pray that all may go well with you and that you may be in good health as it goes well with your soul. Let us please honor the work and sacrifice of our government officials, particularly those negotiating, procuring, and distributing vaccines by having those neighbors vaccinated na mga hindi pa nagpapabakuna. God bless all of you. Have a great day. Please keep it here on One News PH.